Hey, Charlotte Fro here with the newest episode on my podcast, Change by Choice. Today, we're going to be talking about the perfectionist trap and how we need to really kick perfection to the curb, and how that leads to our happiness and our freedom and our peace. And guess what? Amazing results. So, before I head into there, I am a certified high performance coach and I own a business called Thrive Consulting where I focus in on leadership and development coaching. And you can find more information about what I do on my website at www.charlottefro.com. So the topic for today, I think some people are going to have a harder time with this one, depending on, what type of personality type you are out there. But I do feel like we all fall into times where perfection gets the best of us. So we might not be a perfectionist all the time, that type A kind of scenario. But if that's you, definitely need you to be taking some notes right now, because there's a few things that come up with perfection. It steals joy. It steals complete joy in your life. Being a perfectionist, is highly unattainable because who's defining what perfection actually is? And how do you know if you're actually going to get there? What I see consistently with people who are aiming for perfection is they get really trapped in being paralyzed that they're going to make the wrong move, that they're going to do it wrong, that they are not going to actually finish, that it's not going to be the way that they would like it to be. So they miss out on the joy and the experience of actually learning and doing and executing. And they're also missing out on the key elements that you learn, the things that you learn about yourself when you actually don't hit your mark, when you do fail. That's where the heart of all the learnings is the struggle, it's the journey. And that's really where you're tested to see how committed you are. So if you're in a place where you are just constantly aiming for perfection all the time, I think you're going to be let down a lot. And it's not even just being let down, is that it's really hard when you're in that zone not to then compete with other people. Like somehow it's you against somebody else. There are some that can keep that perfectionism just to themselves. But for a lot, it shows up in our ego. It shows up in how we view other people. And that, all of the things that I've already just started talking about, is the thief of joy. You're not truly being present. You're constantly thinking about the future, about how you're going to get there, and it's not good enough, and always in this place of just not having any gratitude for where things are at right now. No gratitude for yourself, for all the hard work that you've already done. And in some cases, perfection leads to complete paralysis. The mere fact that, if it's not going to be perfect, it doesn't get done at all. So perfectionism, I see it a lot in the business world, leads to a lot of excuses. Well, they didn't get it done because. So I want you to think when you're listening to this podcast, where do you fall into play? For myself, I'm not a, per se type A personality. But I have situations and times where I get a little a little OCD, or I get a little I just want things to be perfect. And I start to get into that mindset. Now I've gotten to a place where I can catch myself. And I also use that occasionally as a strength to make sure that I'm doing things really well. But without getting trapped in the paralysis, in the thief of joy, in the inability to take on the learnings, and to get super upset if I fail. So when you get to that place where you're actually able to work with perfectionism as a tool, then you've kind of mastered it, right? But until then, it's all about what's going on in here, in your head. The thoughts that come into play. It's all the background conversation that stops you from just being able to just be present in what you're doing. And that's what I want you to pay attention to. When I'm working with clients, I often tell them, journaling is probably one of the best tools that you can do to help guide you, especially as you're learning how you tick and function. So as things come up, you're just jotting them down. I'm not talking about a Dear Diary format where you're like at the end of the day writing out, your entire day. I'm talking about just jotting down patterns, common threads, thought processes, behaviors that you have about yourself that are happening that maybe have been on autopilot and you haven't really recognized that this is what is really steering all the decisions that you're making. And then you're able to go back and look and start to realize where things are coming from. Are they situation specific, or is it really consuming every single thing that you're doing all day long? You want to be the perfect partner, the perfect wife, the perfect husband, the perfect boss. You want to make sure you're running a perfect household. It's exhausting. And what's perfect? Who is defining what perfect is? Just your head, or are you using a comparison of what other people are doing? That to me is just like exhausting. You want to know where your energy is going? You want to know where your time is going? It's going into thinking and doing all of those things. It's not productive. And it's not leading you to your best life. So I want you to just scratch perfection, kick it to the effing curb. Has no room in your life if you want to be happy, have peace, not be imprisoned by what you're not doing, but really having gratitude for all the things that you are doing. Because isn't that what life's all about? We've got to stop being in the mechanism, the hamster in the wheel. We got to stop it. We got to start making choices that are aligned with what we actually want in life. And that means correcting the thoughts and the behaviors that we have that are not leading us to those values, to those, those qualities, to happiness, to whatever it is that you want that you're not achieving. Could be financial goals. Your perfectionism could be inhibiting you from taking risks, the risks that could possibly help you gain more, financial stability in your life. So I want you to take that step back and start to think like, how I've been behaving, how my thought processes have been, what choices I've been making, how are they stopping me from actually getting to be that person that I would like to be, my highest self, my best self. And this could just be you in your home. It could be you with your children. It could be you as a CEO. But it's really time to start peeling back the onion and start dissecting, what is stopping you from getting there. It's in that reflection. And again, really starting to analyze the patterns that you will start to move forward and start to course correct and start to make different choices. If you like that chaos and it's not stopping you, fantastic. Keep it going. Otherwise, if you don't love it, it's time to start changing that behavior. Because nothing good comes from perfectionism. Again, like I said, if you use it as just like, you just use a little bit of it when you need it just to like polish something up, that's fantastic. That's good, high quality standards, of your work, of the quality of your performance. But again, it's realistic metrics that you're working towards. You're not just like defining perfectionism as something that you're never going to attain. That's ludicrous. It's really just being real with yourself. And again, just asking yourself, what is it that I want? Where am I not happy right now? When you're going to bed at night, what keeps you up? Those are the things you want to jot down. All the things that you feel like you didn't complete, while maybe you're leaving the day feeling like you failed. First off, you didn't fail, you made it through your day. Secondly, you got to start analyzing that list because maybe you're doing the wrong things. You hear throughout my podcasts, we talk about time, clarity, energy, productivity, and the courage it takes to actually step out of some of these, behaviors and tendencies that we have that have become habits that are not getting us to where we want to be, why we're stuck. And it's time to start changing that. So I want you to reflect on perfectionism and how it shows up in your life. And if you're starting to feel like you're in that little bit of that mindset prison, start to do the work to get yourself out of it. So like I mentioned before, start to journal a little bit, start to reflect. Every time you go to do something or you are stopped, like you don't want to move forward because of the fear that starts to come up, that's where the magic happens. And if you don't know what to do with that, reach out. Those are the situations that you need coaching on to be able to get out of, because what might seem just like one situation to you is probably showing up in many different situations that are affecting your life every single day. So that's my challenge to you for this week, is to really see, how this is showing up for you. Something that's really exciting that we're going to be moving forward with is I'm going to start interviewing. I mentioned it on the last podcast that I did. And so you're going to start seeing some of the posts come out on my Facebook page at Charlotte Farreau, Change by Choice. And what I'm so excited about is that, we're going to have great people that we're going to be interviewing. You want to know about these people. They have something special. They are successful. They have literally, gone through adversity to get to where they're at. And a common thread that I'll hear is, when people have when we look at somebody and they look super successful and you're like, how did they get there? Maybe they were lucky, Success isn't luck, it's choice. And it wasn't easy. You just didn't see everything that happened to get to that spot. So my podcast is really going to be walking people through the obstacles, the struggle, the journey that person had to get through, the limitations, even how it stemmed from childhood. We weren't all set up for success. Actually, most of us haven't been at all. And so it's really showing that part of it, showing the true human story. And, quite frankly, there are a few people that I'm going to be interviewing that have just, have gone through such traumatic and hard experiences, and where they've come to now, it's so inspiring. Every story matters. That's the hashtag for this. Every story matters. Because our stories, when shared, help other people. It helps us create a community of connection, of experience, of empathy and love and compassion. One of my biggest missions is to help people share, be vulnerable. Not to live in these lives based on perfection, going back to the theme of everything looks perfect. Well, it's probably not. And the moment that we can get out of looking like everything's perfect and start to actually show how life really is, our messy little lives, that's when we become happy. I don't know if maybe, I live in a small town. Maybe it's a theme that comes up for me because I see it, in our community. And I vowed that wasn't going to be me, but it's a choice that I make. And it's definitely, a message that I really want to spread, which is we don't need to be trapped in that kind of prison. And it's so freeing when you can get to a place where you don't have to make things look like they're perfect. And that's when you start to find you're happy. That's when, we're all just people doing the best that we can, learning lessons along the way. Sometimes are a little harder than others. And we really just want the best. And so this platform that I have right now is to really share that, is to connect that with so many other people out there. Because if we can all just get to a different place where we're just a little bit happier, or even like if you're already happy, just even getting like to that next place, or learning how to share that with other people so that you can inspire that, so that other people can just, you know, get to that spot too, then hey, I think we've done a fantastic job. So I can't wait to share more. I can't wait to share who the, you know, first person is that I'm going to be interviewing. So you're going to see that interview come up a week from now. So my podcasts are always posted on Tuesday mornings. And so stay tuned. And it's really exciting. And thank you so much for all the support so far. It's been really incredible. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. Please, again, send me any information if you have a topic that you'd like me to share, or if you maybe are somebody or know somebody that you would like to put their name forth to be interviewed. Just go to my website, again, www.charlottefro.com, and go on the contact page and just shoot me a message. But yeah, anyways, I hope you have a great weekend, and we will talk again soon.